continuing with the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta attitude is mainly, there are many different ones. There are like king-like attitude, which is to enlighten oneself first and then enlighten the others. Boatman-like attitude, which is to enlighten oneself and the others together. Shepherd-like bodhicitta, to take care of the sheep first and then lastly shepherd goes home. Whatever one is able to do or one is inspired to do. As many of you know, bodhicitta has relative bodhicitta and the ultimate bodhicitta. Here I would like to tell you that as a Mahayana, or just generally Buddhism, and especially Mahayana, we really know somehow that emptiness, the wisdom of emptiness, is something that needs to be actualized. That we have been told again and again, until you realize the emptiness, that you will not be able to get rid of the samsara. But time and again, we know that emptiness, even to understand intellectually, is difficult, let alone actually realize it. You know, this is important that you notice. Bodhicitta is the emptiness. Understanding of the emptiness is the ultimate bodhicitta. Understanding of the emptiness, or the realization of the emptiness, is the practice of the it is the bodhicitta. Emptiness is the bodhicitta, real bodhicitta. See, the bodhicitta should never, the ingredient, so to speak, of the bodhicitta should never be, it should always have the method, wisdom and method together. If one of them is missing, then it's not bodhicitta. If wisdom is missing, then bodhicitta is just a pure, good wish, sympathy. It's very dualistic compassion, which is very good, very, very good, but it is not going to uproot the samsara. If the method is missing, this kind of bodhicitta will not benefit oneself and others. Okay, now, as I said, understanding of the emptiness is difficult, even intellectually. I don't know whether this example will work, but let's try. Someone who wants to have butter. Butter is invisible, let's say. But if you have milk, then it's like you have the butter. This example only to the certain extent will work. Ultimate bodhicitta, practice of emptiness, since it's difficult, but there is a way, and that way is the relative bodhicitta, such as, tangible milk. By churning it, then ultimate bodhicitta, the butter comes. Even the relative bodhicitta already has the flavor of the ultimate bodhicitta, such as, may all infinite sentient beings be enlightened. Like not just may this and that sentient be enlightened. There's already the flavor of non-duality. So it's very safe to say that even though you may not understand ultimate bodhicitta, both practically and intellectually, but if you just know, maybe it's just mouthing words, but just know, may all sentient beings be enlightened. If you know that, and if you try to apply that, it is safe to say that you will understand eventually emptiness. But then, yes, so the relative bodhicitta, the bodhisattva path is really designed so, it is designed to it is designed to, what do you call it, for the practitioners, for the followers to follow it easily, comfortably. Never there is an expectation that the moment you have become the bodhisattva, that you understood, emptiness, that you give up your household, that you cut your flesh and feed hungry animals. There is no expectations, or there is no rules like that. As Shantideva said, step by step I shall learn the profound path of the bodhicitta. So step by step,
就像吉天菩
one should apply this bodhisattva method step by step, according to one's own capacity. So for this reason, even on the relative bodhicitta, we have the aspiration bodhicitta and application bodhicitta. And for us, mainly, as Longchenpa advised again and again, for ordinary beings like us, aspiration bodhicitta is what we should be relying upon again and again. Developing this wish to enlighten sentient beings. Remember, as we talked earlier, like every half an hour, maybe think about it
那就像
genuinely. Of course, and by doing this again and again and again, because that's what you are wishing, that's what you are getting accustomed to, aspiration, then you become braver and braver. Of course, as a beginner, when we apply this kind of method of aspiration bodhicitta genuinely, we will also have lots of self-doubt, like, am I really being genuine? I mean, even that doubt, am I being genuine? That's already shows that you are struggling. You are aspiring to become a bodhisattva. That's really good. Frustration of not being able to have such kind of thought. Every time we fall into the abyss of selfishness and, self-cherishing and non-virtuous action, feeling guilty, but still not being able to stop altogether. Those are, I would say, it's a good sign. When these things happens, this means that the bodhicitta is beginning to mushroom. As Patrul Rinpoche said, again, yena, ticho, mena, tapcha gidamba. Bodhicitta, if you have it, that's all you need. If you don't have it, then you must have it. It is indispensable. Visualization of, for a tantric practitioner, practice of sadhanas, rituals, mantras, all kinds of, whatever you do, it must begin with the bodhicitta, accompanied with the bodhicitta, and conclude with the bodhicitta. As in the story of Atisha Dipamkara, even to us, one who taught us the bodhicitta, you should consider the most precious master. And during the practice, as I'm repeating here, aspiration at this point, aspiration to enlighten all the sentient beings. This should be the core and the sole practice for us. As an attempt to practice the application bodhicitta, you can apply methods such as exchanging oneself and the other. When one is actually going through a pain or a problem, suffering, it's easier to sort of do this kind of tonglen when we don't have any problems and we just imagine a problem of sentient beings coming in and, imagine we giving up our good things to them when we breathe out. But actually, when we are having nice time, when we are actually experiencing the blissful time, that is the time that at the least in the beginning try to do tonglen of giving it to others. At the least, just thinking.
至少要这样想。
Even that will do a lot of good, lots of preparation, and you will slowly be able to give it to others, actually. Many people ask this kind of question as, after all these years, I can't control my emotion, like my ego, my pride, my anger. It is at that time, like let's say when you are experiencing an aggression, then think, may all the sentient beings' aggression come towards me. May they be free from this aggression that will cause them pain. When you are going through a really terrible like time, such as you are about to be fired, you are not getting the job, you are not being able to, you are rejected by someone, or whatever the problem, thinking, there must be so many problems like this on the earth, on this earth, on this realms, 6 realms, may they all come towards me. I have heard from people actually sending really some, urgent emails to me. I've been doing Tonglen, and like at the moment I'm going through this and that problem, and I've been doing Tonglen, and suddenly it struck me that what if the problems, really all the problems come to me? Actually, I took these messages very, encouragingly, because it just shows that they have not been mouthing words.
So may
all sentient beings problem come to me. Doesn't really think. They were really thinking about it, and it actually bothered them, and that's good. There are other questions like, can I keep a little bit of merit so that I can practice the Dharma? I can't give up everything, can I? That's all this very sweet of asking this question. By giving up all your merit, you make like 20 times more, 1,000 times more, billion times more. By taking all the problems of the sentient beings, you become billion times more blissful. This is why Shantideva is saying, this is the solution to all the problems. It is really like, it brings all the good things. It really avoids all the bad things. The bodhicitta is, if you really soberly look into the strategy of the bodhicitta, it is crazy not to have it. If you really look into the bodhicitta strategy, it's really crazy not to have it. The moment you have it, you are already blissful. Other bliss, you have to work hard. This one, the moment you even wish it, you already are blissful. Then, once we get quite used to this kind of, exchanging oneself in the other, thinking the other and oneself equal, so on and so forth, we can slowly, time to time, apply other application, the methods of bodhisattva, such as six paramitas, such as, let's say, like a generosity of material things, giving dharma, truth, informing the truth, giving protection. Since this is a tantric path, again, as I mentioned to you, there is a vastness of method. So as part of the vastness of the method, there are many practices you can do, such as making torma, the water torma offering, smoke offerings, and many others, lamps, flowers. These are all a practice of generosity. Patrul Rinpoche encourages us to do things like smoke offering, because it is easy to practice and at the same time lots of benefit. Having said that, Patrul Rinpoche says, until one completely overcome selfishness, benefiting others are a little difficult. Of course, this is not to say that you should not help others. You should. But you must remind yourself that until I have crushed my ego, I may be not necessarily helping others. I may be just helping myself for my gratification, self-gratification, for being able to help others. This kind of attitude will also bring humility, and it will end up making your bodhisattva activity much more refined. Similarly, as part of the application bodhicitta, we practice like discipline, paramita. Basically, trying to refrain from all kinds of non-virtuous thoughts, non-virtuous activity coming from body, speech, and mind. That is one discipline.
这个呢是一个戒律。
And the discipline of really acquiring and accumulating and collecting, even it is a minute virtuous thoughts and actions, we try to diligently accumulate. And then discipline of benefiting others, especially when one's ego is fairly crushed. Trying to benefit others with a method such as softly spoken, giving presents, all kinds of methods. Applying all kinds of methods. Bodhisattva must. Bodhisattva should not think that this is not something that we should do. As I said yesterday, other than 3 non-virtuous thoughts, bodhisattvas must apply. And then applying the patience. Patience also, like to be patient when others are unfavorable to you. Patience for patience or endurance for practicing the Dharma, whatever comes in the way to the practice of the Dharma, being patient and enduring. And the most important patience or endurance is patience and endurance towards unbelievable things like emptiness. Especially, Mahasandhi, Dzogpa. As I've said yesterday, when Nyoshu Lungto was introduced, can you see the star? Can you hear the dogs barking? And then and that made him, achieve, and that liberated him. These are just inconceivable. There are so many stories like this. Also, one of the Nyoshu Lungto's students, 2 brothers. These 2 brothers had a visitor who came all the way from a very distant, looking for the instructions on the Mahasandhi. He said he wants to know the nature of the mind. And then the 2 brothers sort of made him stay there for a long time. And he also had so much devotion towards both brothers. He volunteered washing their clothes also, And one time, as he was washing the clothes, he saw a little bit of shit. And then he thought, oh, my gurus have a shit. And immediately he condemns himself. How can I think the great Vajradhara has a shit? It's only my perceptions. But anyway, when he went to see the guru, these 2 gurus, for the instructions of the mind nature, the brothers were kind of, 2 brothers were sort of saying, oh, you do it, you do it. The other one says, no, you do it. Anyway, lastly, the younger brother, had to do it. So younger brother told this guy, okay, now come here. He said, you wanted to know the nature of the mind, right? Yeah. Very simple. It's something like this. And as he said that he had his vajra on his table, and he just sort of, just like a normal gesture, it's something like this, just out of normal, just like he knocked his table. It's, he was about to say something like it's like this, like put the vajra like that, it's like, okay, listen, it's like this, he wasn't talking about this, like it's just a habit. And then he continued teaching, it's like this, like this, But the disciple the moment he heard the first sound of Vajra hitting on the table, that's all he heard. The rest he never heard. That sound of, like that cup, that sound, that, after hearing that, the whole net of samsara and the nirvana, or the whole the construction of ideas and values and, that very neatly tied, that just stopped. The rest of all the Lama's words, and this is just details, it doesn't matter what he taught, all the quotations, all this is, it's very good, but, he never heard, it was not even necessary. Things like this, unbelievable for us. But this is because we have the lack of endurance to this kind of wisdom. Even scientifically, if you think carefully, it is believable. But when it happens, there and then, a lot of us will not manage to seize that opportunity. We just miss it. I might get scoldings from one of my teacher, Patrul Rinpoche, but I'm going to share this with you anyway. He last saw Khentse Rinpoche, which is his guru, in Lhasa. He was very attached to Khentse Rinpoche. This is. I mean, even now, the moment we bring the Khentse Rinpoche issues, he will cry like a, child. So he really hoped that Khentse Rinpoche was on the way to India. He really hoped to accompany him to India, like leave him. But Khentse Rinpoche told him not to accompany him. So he left. Khentse Rinpoche left him behind. Patrul Rinpoche used to lead the leash of the horse. Mm-hmm. And on that day, this is his last, this is just before they apart, Khentse Rinpoche said, okay, now enough, give me the leash. He leads the horse's leash, right?
His guru's horse.
Yeah, Khentse Rinpoche's horse. So now Khentse Rinpoche said, okay, give me back. And Khentse Rinpoche looked at him for a long time and said, don't worry, just, relax. And then he never saw Khentse Rinpoche. After that, Patrul Rinpoche really gone through a lot, prisons, all sorts of things. And he told us that all these years, the only thing that kept on going, made him going on like this, is this word, don't worry, relax. I think for him, that was the introduction of the nature of the mind. But for ordinary people like us who doesn't have endurance, these are unbelievable. We heard so many times, don't worry, be happy, relax. It doesn't really work.